Today, I'm going to discuss about the recent trends and challenges in VLSI fabrication technology. There are so many challenges and issues are there, but here especially I will discuss about the challenges regarding the MOS structure. Time to time, with the advancement of the technology, so many things are changed with the structure of the MOSFET. As you can see in the bracket, I have written high K material and metal gate technology. Okay, now you will ask what is the metal gate technology. When this MOSFET was fabricated first time, it was made of the metal. Very first time, scientists or engineers used aluminum as a metal gate. But with the time, with the advancement of the technology, this metal gate creates some problem in the fabrication of the IC. So for last 20 years, more than 20 years, scientists and engineers were using polysilicon as a gate electrode. Polysilicon is very heavily doped material that is providing the conductivity very much equivalent to the metal. So we'll see how industry moved from the metal gate to the polysilicon. But again, for last 5 to 6 years, or maybe around 8 years, again industry returned back to the metal gate. Okay? Because with the advancement of the technology, nowadays we are not using silicon dioxide as a dielectric material or insulator in the IC. We are using high K material, okay, high dielectric material. So because of using this high dielectric material, we have to return back to the metal gate. So nowadays we are not using aluminum as a metal gate. We are using some refractory metals that provided better conductivity and better, easier fabrication process, okay, for the fabrication of the MOSFET and the entire IC. Let us see the structure of the MOSFET. As we can see, we are having 3 layers. I'm not talking about the MOSFET, I'm talking about the MOS structure. So MOS structure consisting of 3 layers. One is the metal, okay, as a gate electrode. I have written polysilicon also because for last 20 years we are using polysilicon as a gate electrode. Second is the insulation oxide. Basically we are using silicon dioxide. And third is the P-type or N-type bulk semiconductor, depending whether we are going to fabricate N-type MOSFET or P-type MOSFET. So I'm talking about the MOS structure. So earlier metal was used as a gate electrode. Okay, oxide, as a oxide we are using silicon dioxide. So oxide layer means any type of the oxide can be used, but at that time silicon dioxide was preferred because entire circuit was fabricated on a silicon substrate. But nowadays we are not using silicon dioxide as a oxide layer. Oxide layer can be bifurcated in 2 type of the oxide layer. One is the thin oxide and second is the thick oxide. Thin oxide basically used for a gate isolation purpose. Under the gate region, we are using one very thin oxide layer that is called thin oxide, gate oxide sometimes. And thick oxide is much thicker than the gate oxide that can be used for providing the isolation in between the different components of the IC. So here I am going to discuss about the things why this congestion are there. Congestion means very first in the early time of the manufacturing of this IC or MOSFET we are using the metal gate. Then we move to the polysilicon gate. Again we move back to the metal gate. Intel and TSMC. TSMC means Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. These two are the leading fabrication labs, those who are doing the very great research in this area. So Intel first find out that after 45 nanometer, again they have to use back the metal gate in place of the polysilicon gate. There are few reasons that poly was preferred material for the past decade or so. Metal gate were used when operating voltage was 3 to 5 volt. So earlier we were having very large size of the devices. So at that time 3 to 5 volt was the operating voltage. Okay, so metal gate was a perfect material, any material. Basically aluminum was the perfect material to use as a gate electrode. But as the technology is shrinking, device size is also shrinking. So based on that we use based on the voltage scaling process, this operating voltage also lower down. So because of that and some other reason, this manufacturer moved to the polysilicon gate instead of the metal gate. Another thing is that deposition of the polysilicon gate is a one-step process, but depositing of a metal gate requires multi-step at that time. So that creates a lot of problem that increase the cost of the IC also. After that, one of the major problem was the annealing. After the deposition of the source and drain reason, we have to heat the device up to 1000 degrees centigrade. And after heating the device up to 1000 degrees centigrade, we have to leave it for 5 minutes for annealing purpose. So once gate was deposited and it was heated for 1000 degrees centigrade, at that time this metal gate was. So these are the reasons, some reason because of that industry moved from metal to polysilicon gate. So one of the major problem was the lower downing of the operating voltage. Second was the fabrication process that requires multi-step for metal gate, but one-step process of etching for polysilicon. Annealing is also one of the major problem because earlier we were using aluminum as a metal gate that was having very less melting point. So once the complete device was heated up to 1000 degrees centigrade and it was left for annealing for 5 minutes, at that time because of the heating only, this metal or basically aluminum was getting melted. But when we are using the polysilicon is made of the silicon having a melting point around 1200 degrees centigrade. Depending on the structure of the polysilicon, it is having the melting point in between 1200 degrees centigrade to 1400 degrees centigrade. So once device is heated up to the 1000 degrees centigrade, this polysilicon gate is not getting melted. So these are the reasons. Some of the reasons are shown in the next slide also. So as we know that with the time, with the advancement of the technology, device size is getting smaller. So based on the device size, this is basically called scaling. Because of the scaling, every parameter of the device is getting smaller. So because of that, we need a high VT device. There was some problem of the leakage. So if we are using the metal gate, we are using the silicon dioxide also. But for last 20 years, we are using polysilicon material as a gate along with the silicon dioxide as a dielectric material. So as we are going to scale down all the property and all the dimension of the device, there is a problem with the oxide layer. We can't shrink down the thickness of the oxide layer beyond the certain limit, because this oxide layer provides the isolation in between the metal or you can say gate electrode with the rest of the device. There should not be any physical connection in between the gate electrode and the rest of the device. As we are going to shrink down the thickness of the oxide layer, this thickness will become very less, and some of the electron, high energy electron, can move to the gate region. That effect is called hot electron effect. Hot electron effect means some of the electrons are having a very high amount of the energy that can penetrate very thin oxide layer, and they can move towards the gate side, and they will come out of the gate electrode. So in that case we get a gate current, but that is not a desired phenomena. We don't want any gate current. We want that electron will move from source to drain side, so that current will flow from drain to source side. Okay, we don't want any movement of the electron either towards the gate or towards the body. So we are not using silicon dioxide nowadays as a insulator. We are using high dielectric, high K oxide layer as a insulator, just as titanium oxide, hafnium oxide, zirconium oxide, and sometimes we are using some other type of the oxide depending on system to system. So one of the major problem with the metal, melting point of the metal, polysilicon provide better solution for that. Second, higher VT, because metal is a conductor that provide very high conductivity in the region, and whose conductivity cannot be controlled. But in case of the polysilicon, by controlling the doping amount, we can control the threshold voltage of the device also. So these are some reasons. So for that purpose, we are using polysilicon at that time. So if we see the problem with the silicon dioxide, it can't be shrunk beyond a certain limit. So we are using the high dielectric insulator. But this high dielectric insulator oxide layer are not compatible with the polysilicon, because earlier polysilicon was used as a gate electrode and silicon dioxide was used as a oxide layer or thin oxide. If we see, both are the fabricated by using the silicon. Polysilicon and gate junction was homo junction. But once we move towards the high K dielectric insulator as a oxide layer, it creates problem with the polysilicon. So we'll see what problem we are facing with the high K insulator along with the polysilicon, why industry moved to the metal gate. So just note down that titanium, hafnium oxide, zirconium oxide, and other material are used for the oxide layer with the advancement of the technology. Now we are discussing about the requirement of the high K material, why high K material is required. So one of the major problem with the scaling of the MOSFET dimension. Basically, what is the 180 nanometer or 250 nanometer? This is the distance between source and drain. That is called length of the gate. We are having two important parameters, W and L. W is the width of the gate and L is the length of the gate. Okay, we see the three-dimensional view of the MOSFET. So L is defined as a technology parameter, that is 250 nanometer at that time. After some month we started using 180 nanometer. That is the minimum length that can be drawn by any fabrication. We can't go beyond that. Continuous scaling of the MOS device creates so many challenges and problems. Like if we see if we reducing the gate size or device size, so many short channel effect comes into the picture. As we are going to decrease the gate size also, what will happen? Distance between source and drain will be reduced dramatically. So because of that, what will happen? Control of the gate voltage is going to be loose on the property of the device. As we know that gate plays a very important role. It's just like one of the controlling element in the device. But in short channel devices, gate voltage is not going to be provide better solution. Okay, so basically in MOSFET we are using two type of the field. One is the vertical field that is provided by the gate voltage, and second is the horizontal field that is provided by the drain and source. If we are connecting voltage at the drain size, that provide a horizontal field. Basically in short channel devices, what happening, role of the vertical field is going to be diminished. And now you can understand what is the role of the vertical field. That provides the proper utilization of the depletion layer under the gate region. Okay, if we are using the depletion enhancement of device, what's happening? After a certain gate voltage, we created depletion layer and we created channel in between source and drain. So vertical field will provide the proper utilization of the channel. If this vertical field is not working properly, what will happen? This electron that coming from the source to drain side, that will move in a zigzag motion, and that will move towards the surface of the junction. That will not move towards the overall thickness of the channel. So because of that, losing control of the gate voltage will provide a zigzag motion of the electron from source to drain that will reduce the speed of the device. So in that case, mobility of the electron or charge carrier are also going to decrease. That is called mobility decreasing. So many short channel effect comes into the picture when we are going for the continuous scaling of the MOS device. So this is the one of the main reason, and because of that, what will happen? Some of the electron will get very high amount of the energy because they are moving near the junction, gate region and the silicon dioxide junction. What will happen? They penetrate the junction and they will come to the gate region and will get a gate current. This is the one of the major effect if we are using the silicon dioxide as a oxide layer. And next thing also, so many things are there. Physical thickness of the SiO2 has been aggressively scaled for lower power, high performance CMOS application. As we scaling down the device size, in the same ratio, thickness of the SiO2 layer is also going to decrease. As I discussed in the starting, the thickness of the gate oxide will be in between 1 to 10 nanometer. This is the perfect thickness of the SiO2 layer. But with the advancement of the technology, we are going to decrease that thickness also. Because of that, it can't provide a proper isolation in between the substrate and the gate. So some of the electrons are moving towards the gate side and we'll get a gate current. That is also not a required phenomena. The continuous downscaling of the CMOS device into deep submicrometer dimensions seems to have reached its limit with SiO2 as the gate dielectric material. As I told, if we further decrease the thickness of the SiO2 layer, it can't provide the better isolation and some of the electron will move towards the gate side. And one of the major reason is also there because for this silicon substrate, if you can remember the Miller indices define the number of the atom in a structure. So for fabrication of the VLSI devices, we are using 100 orientation of the material. That is having one electron or one atom per structure. So as we are going to decrease the size of the SiO2 layer, what will happen? Increase, and this SiO2 is going to running out of the atom. So if we still further scale down the thickness of the SiO2 layer, what will happen? Gate oxide leakage will be increasing. As I told, some of the electron will enter into the gate region after penetrating the silicon dioxide. Okay? So we'll get a gate oxide leakage current. If for the prevention of this type of the leakage current or tunneling problem, thick dielectric material. But this is not possible with the use of the silicon dioxide, because dielectric constant of the silicon dioxide is very less comparable to the other things. This is the one of the major problem. For this tunneling problem, basically, we have to use high dielectric material so that we can provide optimal amount of the thickness for the dielectric material. So what will happen there? As the gate dielectric become physically thicker, transistor requires a material with high dielectric constant to maintain its electrical property. So for that purpose, if we want to use a thicker dielectric material, we have to use a high dielectric constant material so that electrical property of the device should be maintained. So for that purpose, we are using high K material as a gate dielectric, not as a thick oxide. Okay. As I told that we are using two type of the oxide layer in the device. One is the thin oxide layer and second is the thick oxide layer. Thin oxide layer is used as a gate oxide under the gate region. So we are talking about the gate oxide only, not about the other oxide that provide the isolation between the components. Suppose you take the structure of the CMOS inverter. So in the same wafer, first we are fabricating the NMOS or PMOS device. Then by the side of the NMOS or PMOS, we are fabricating the other device. So providing the isolation between these two devices, we have to use thick oxide. That is still SiO2 oxide layer. That is not going to change. We are going to discuss about the change of the gate oxide only, because with the scaling property of the device, the thickness of the oxide layer is also going to reduce. So we have to provide better thickness along with the high dielectric material so that electrical property of the device will not be changed. For that purpose, we are using high K, high dielectric material device. So here, one of the major parameter for this replacement of the device is the EOT, equivalent oxide thickness. So high K dielectric materials have equivalent oxide thickness of 1 nanometer with negligible gate oxide leakage. Desirable transistor threshold voltage for MOSFET and transistor channel mobility close to those of SiO2 layer. Because this SiO2 layer is a oxide layer, but still it is having some mobilized charge there. So this EOT is one of the important parameter that will find out the equivalent thickness of the oxide layer. If suppose we don't want to replace the SiO2 layer with the high K dielectric material. So based on some research, we will find out the relationship in between high K material and the SiO2 layer. So we have to use equivalent thickness of the SiO2 layer so that it can behave like a high K dielectric material. So based on that, some parameter is defined that is called the equivalent oxide thickness parameter. We'll see in the next slide. Various person like Intel, TSMC, IBM are doing so much research. So based on the different approaches, I have collected some data that high K gate dielectric introduction includes low K interconnects also, replacement of the bulk silicon with the strand silicon on insulator. This is a new technique. We are not using a single substrate. We are using a silicon substrate. Over that we are using a layer of the insulator. Above the insulator layer, we are fabricating the IC, different portion of the MOS structure or MOS device. That type of the structure is called strand silicon on insulator. And we are using high mobility channel material like germanium, gallium arsenide, graphene, etc. In last 5 years, we listened about the CNT, carbon nanotube, that is fabricated by using the graphene, that provide a better conductivity in between the source and drain. That can be used as a channel also. That can be implanted within the device. That can provide a very high amount of the conductivity for the channel as a channel in between source and drain. And non-planar CMOS device structure like FinFET also. FinFET is a basically we are using a multi-gate device that is called FinFET. So many different approaches are there to increase the performance of the device. One of the major issue is with the interconnect material. Maybe you are hearing this term first time, interconnect. Interconnect is a wire that connects the one module of the IC to the other module. Or you can say that provide the connection in between the gate to gate. Output of the one gate is connected to the input of the another gate by using some metal line that is called interconnect line. That interconnect also having the dielectric, so we have to use low dielectric so that it can provide a better speed, because everything is related to the performance of the device, and performance of the device is measured in terms of the speed. So many structures are proposed by different research group. So here only one of the solution is the introduction of the high K material, because we can't scale down the thickness of the gate oxide layer. Generally we are using silicon dioxide. Very useful thing is that by using the silicon dioxide, fabrication cost and fabrication time is also very less. Because once we want to grow the silicon dioxide, we don't have to need any deposition of the extra material. That we have to bake the substrate up to the 1000 degree or more than that temperature, and we have to provide a vapor, oxygen vapor or water vapor, that will react with the upper layer of the substrate, that will form a oxide layer. So different type of the oxide layer, thin oxide and thick oxide layer can be fabricated on the surface of the silicon substrate without depositing any other material. So that's why we were using silicon dioxide as a insulator and gate material, gate oxide layer also. But it started creating the problem with the scaling of the device. So one of the solution is the high K device. Okay, high K dielectric material we use. So high on is defined as whenever device is on, proper channel is formed in between source and drain, proper gate voltage and drain voltage is applied. When channel is available, we see device is on. In that case, we get some drain current, that is called on current. Off current is when gate current is not provided, no proper channel is there in between source and drain. Still at the room temperature, some of the electron will move from source to drain side or from drain to source side. Because of this charge, very less amount of the electron, we get a leakage current. Okay, that is called off current basically. Device is not in use, but still we get some current at the room temperature. So this is the problem also regarding with the non-silicon substrate, because nowadays so many research group are working, and maybe within few years, within 4 or 5 years, you will get the update from the industry like Intel or IBM that we are not using silicon as a substrate also. So many research is going on for the non-silicon substrate, because we are changing this silicon dioxide with the high K dielectric material. Sometimes that is not compatible with the property of the gate material and the substrate material. So some research group are also working on the non-silicon substrate. So within very short time, you will find out a dramatical change in the structure of the MOS devices. But nowadays we are not going for the non-silicon substrate. Okay, we are using silicon on insulator. Sometimes we are using silicon on SoC also, silicon on chip device also. So this is the phenomena. Next slide we'll move. So this is the requirement. I have listed down only very limited parameter here. So this high K, high dielectric oxide should satisfy the following properties. Okay, if you see the data sheet provided by the IBM and Intel, they have listed down around 11 to 12 properties. Out of 11 to 12 properties, I have selected only 3 important properties of the high K oxide layer. That is high dielectric constant and barrier height, thermodynamic stability also, or interface quality. Generally what happens when we are using the device for a long time, temperature of the device is increasing. Because of that, dielectric constant of the oxide layer is also going to modulate. Because of that, barrier height that will be provided by the junction in between the gate and dielectric is going to reduce. that should be constant. Thermodynamic stability, with the increment in the temperature of the device, this high K device, high K material should be stable, so that we have to use a high melting point oxide layer also. And interface quality. Interface quality is very much important. As earlier, we are using silicon dioxide as a oxide interface device in between gate and substrate. So silicon dioxide is also formed from the silicon substrate. So most of the property of the silicon dioxide and substrate is meshed. So because of that, some of the electron enters into the area of the silicon dioxide and they are get trapped there. That's why this silicon dioxide layer, that is called gate oxide, sometimes it is called as a buried layer also. So that some of the electron enters into the oxide layer and they are getting buried. They can't move towards the gate side, or it can't move towards back to the channel side. So we have to provide better interface quality so that minimum amount of the electron will move towards the dielectric material. Otherwise, suppose 10% or 20% electron enter into the oxide layer, any type of the oxide layer. So what will happen? That will degrade the performance of the device. For example, suppose 100 electrons are provided by the source towards the drain side at a particular defined voltage. But some of the electron are moving into the oxide layer. So we are getting loss of the sum of electron. According to that, we will get a decrement in the performance of the device as we get the less number of the electron at the drain side, and amount of the current collected at the drain side will be very less. So that is also required, that interface quality in between the substrate and the oxide layer should be proper. And this high K gate material, electric material, should be compatible with the current MOS fabrication process flow and other material used in the CMOS integrated circuit. This is also the one of the major problem. We will see that this high K gate dielectric material is having one of the major problem with the polysilicon material that is used as a gate electrode. So these should be the property of the high K material. We can't choose any of the material as a high K material. As I told, zirconium oxide and hafnium oxide are the better solution as a high K material. We'll see in the next slide. So these are the possible high K material that are used as a oxide layer under the gate region. Silicon nitride having dielectric around 7.5 dielectric constant. Aluminium oxide having dielectric around 10. Lanthanum aluminum oxide dielectric about 15. Hafnium oxide and zirconium oxide having dielectric around 45. Lanthanum oxide is having dielectric about 27. And titanium oxide is having dielectric about 40. So here you can see, I told so many times that hafnium oxide and zirconium oxide are better preferred material as a gate oxide layer, because their dielectric constant is optimal and other property also optimal. We'll see. So if we see in between the hafnium oxide and zirconium oxide is the one of the best alternate high K gate material, which provide lesser physical thickness since it is a nano size material and reduces the direct tunneling of current. Because we are fabricating the device in the nano scale device, 180 nanometer. Last year, IBM launched a IC that uses a 2 nanometer device size. But now we are going to use the IC that is having 2 nanometer technology device, very small devices. So in that case, we are using zirconium dioxide as a high dielectric material as a gate oxide. We are not talking about the isolation oxide. We are talking about only gate oxide. Still, for the isolation purpose, we are using silicon dioxide. So this is the comparison of the alternate dielectric material with the silicon dioxide. If you compare, dielectric constant of the zirconium oxide and hafnium oxide is around 25, both are same. Energy band gap of the zirconium oxide and hafnium oxide is around 6. Conduction band offset is around 1.4 and 1.5, that is very normal. And valence band offset is around 3.3 and 3.4. If we compare these two devices with the other devices, we can find out that zirconium oxide and hafnium oxide provide better solution comparable to the other type of the dielectric material. Otherwise, in some of the material, we are having very less or very high energy band gap. We have to see the energy band gap for the dielectric material also. So now we are talking about the prevalence of the high K material in the microelectronics device. So one of the important parameter is the capacitance density. That is directly proportional to the dielectric value of the and inversely proportional to the thickness of the dielectric material. As you can see the formula, C by A. A is the area of the oxide layer, cross section view. C the capacitance is provided by the oxide layer, and you know the K, dielectric constant of the material, oxide material. A naught is the free space permeability, and Tox is the thickness of the oxide layer. So this capacitance density is also very much important. As we are going to reduce the thickness of the dielectric material, what will happen? This capacitance density will also going to increase, because this is inversely proportional to the thickness of the dielectric layer. So capacitance density is also very much important. And another problem related to this silicon dioxide is the reliability. As we see that if we are using the silicon dioxide as a gate oxide with the limited thickness, leakage current increasing towards the gate side, as some of the electron are moving toward the gate side after penetrating this thin silicon dioxide layer. So for all these problems, solution is to select a gate dielectric with a high dielectric permeability, because silicon is having dielectric constant around 3.9. So high dielectric material provide a lower equivalent oxide thickness at higher physical thickness. So solution is to select the high permeability, because silicon dioxide is dielectric around 3.9. Okay, so we use high permeability material also. So this is the formula provided based on the research, that equivalent oxide thickness of a material is defined as the thickness of the SiO2 layer that would be required to achieve the same capacitance density as the high dielectric material in the consideration. Means suppose anyhow we don't want to change or replace the silicon dioxide with the other high K electric material. Still we want to use silicon dioxide as a gate electrode, a gate oxide. So in that case, we have to find out the equivalent oxide thickness of the silicon dioxide, so that the silicon dioxide will provide the same feature or same electrical property as we are going to replace it with a high dielectric material. That is given by 3.9 divided by K. K is the dielectric constant of the high K material into Tox, where 3.9 is the dielectric constant of the silicon. So based on that, we can find out the thickness of the silicon that will provide the same functionality if it will be replaced with a high K material. It will achieve the same capacitance density. Basically, what is the capacitance density? If capacitance density is higher, channel strength will be more, the CV. Okay, you know the property of the capacitor? That capacitor can store the charge in terms of the voltage. If capacitance is higher, it can store more charge. So in between source and drain, more charge will be accumulated, more number of the electron or hole, depending whether we are talking about NMOS or PMOS, will be accumulated, and channel strength will be more. So this capacitance density is very much important. So with the high K material also, we have to achieve the same capacitance density if we are not going to use high K material. Still we want to use the silicon dioxide. So we have to find out the equivalent oxide thickness provided in the slide. So one of the major challenges is the finding a suitable high K material, because it should be compatible with the CMOS process, CMOS manufacturing processes, because it must provide higher resistivity, act as a good barrier layer. It should be thermally stable so that it can provide ideal interface with the silicon. What silicon? Silicon that is used as a substrate, so that ideally no electron will move or enter into the oxide layer from the channel, so that channel mobility is to be kept constant. So these are the major applications of the high K materials. It can be used in storage capacitor dielectric, pinhole free passivation layer for OLEDs. Recently Samsung launched OLED TV by using the OLED concept. Samsung launched the TV in 2020 or 19, but in IIT Roorkee, they have done a lot of research on OLED in 2002 only. Now you can understand the level of the IITs and NITs. Next is the high aspect ratio diffusion barrier for copper interconnect. Adhesion layer that will provide a better isolation. Highly conformal coating for microfluidic and MEMS applications. Coating of nanoporous structure. Next is other nanotechnology and nano electronic application, as we are using zirconium oxide as a nano material. It can be used in fuel cell, single metal coating for catalyst layer, biomems, electroluminescence, and protective coatings. These are the major applications of the high K material. Instead of the MOS structure. In MOS structure, we can use high K material as a gate oxide layer. Now coming to the challenges of high K dielectric development, as we are using high K dielectric constant oxide layer in the place of the silicon dioxide. And so you can see in the slide, one diagram is shown where polysilicon gate electrode is shown, and interface in between high K oxide layer and polysilicon material is shown. This is creating a very huge amount of the problem, because this high K material is not compatible with the polysilicon gate electrode. So because of that, defect formation will be there at the polysilicon. As you can see, some of the oxide layer, some of the oxide molecule or metal molecule can enter into the polysilicon, that can create the defect in the structure of the polysilicon, that will lower down the Fermi level of the polysilicon material. That is called Fermi level pinning. So defect formation at the polysilicon and the high K interface is most likely the cause of Fermi level pinning in the upper part of the band gap, which causes high threshold voltage in the MOSFET. Here you can see in the structure in the high K material, it is a combination of the metal and oxide. Here metal is either zirconium oxide or hafnium oxide. So this metal or this hafnium oxide or zirconium oxide will create a structure deformation in the polysilicon. Because of that, as you see the right side direction, this Fermi level of this polysilicon is going to be lower down. If you see the diagram, below the conduction level, we shown a dashed line, that is the basically Fermi level for the polysilicon in the natural condition. But in case of the providing high K material as an oxide layer, that will provide a deformation. Because of deformation, what will happen? This is the main problem. Fermi level pinning will be there. Because of that, Fermi level of the polysilicon material is going to be lower down. So because of this, high K and polysilicon becomes incompatible. This is one of the major problem with the high K material. It is not compatible with the polysilicon material as a gate electrode. So we have to replace this polysilicon gate by a suitable metal. So we'll see the other case also. So because of the pinning of the Fermi level, it will increase the threshold voltage of the device. It will create the problem for low drive current, that will create a decrement in the performance of the device. Other thing is the mobility degradation. Low drive current is directly related to the mobility degradation. Low drive current means we are accepting less amount of the electron at the drain side. So because of that, this mobility of the device is going to be decreased. Because as we seen that we are going to scale down the geometry of the device, because of that short channel effect comes into the picture. So this vertical voltage will not work further as effective voltage. So because of that, mobility of the charge carrier electron basically going to decrease. So you can see in the diagram that upper line shows the universal mobility. Okay, as we increase the electric field, this electric field related to the gate voltage, not with the drain voltage. As we keep increasing the gate field, that is going to reduce the electron mobility in a particular amount. Okay, in case of the silicon dioxide and polysilicon combination, that is also equivalent to the universal mobility after certain voltage. But in case of the high K material and polysilicon gate combination, mobility of the charge carrier are going to be decreased dramatically. So that will decrease the performance of the device. These are the different reasons. Mobility of the charge carrier degraded because of the dominant at low field caused due to high interface depth charge. Means if we are using high K dielectric that provide high energy to the from silicon to high K dielectric, some of the electron will enter into the high K material, high K oxide layer. Okay, so because of that, number of the electron will be getting reduced in the channel, and higher trap density near the conduction band, because Fermi level is going to lower down. Because of that, trap density will be higher, and this is one of the major problem for the N type of the MOSFET. Why? because in N type of the MOSFET, we are using electron as a charge carrier that move from source to drain, and mobility of electron is very much higher than the holes. So this problem is more severe in N type of the devices. Another challenge as problem with the high K material is the surface phonon scattering. So high K phonons and gate plasmons model as an electric dipole that will create a resonance problem in the system. As I told, that as we are going to decrease the size of the device, so some short channel effect comes into the picture. As channel device is going to be, channel length is going to decrease, what will happen? Vertical field, effect of the vertical field provided by the gate voltage is also going to be decreased. So because of that, what will happen? Most of the charge carrier or electron or hole that are available in the channel will travel along the surface of the channel only. That will not utilize the proper thickness of the channel. That will move toward the surface only in the upper part of the channel. That creates a resonance problem. That will, because of that, what will happen? Movement of the charge carrier will be in a zigzag motion. It will not move in a straightforward direction. So because of channel mobility will be decreased, because mobility of the charge carrier will also be decreasing. Because in a particular time, it's a general case, if you move towards one destination in a straightforward direction, you will cover a very small distance. Time will be very small. Response will be very high. But if you move towards the same point in a zigzag motion, same distance can be covered in a more amount of the path. Path length will increase, and electrons are moving in a zigzag motion. That provide a resonance condition in the system. So if we use the doped polysilicon, okay, doped polysilicon that is doped around 10 to the power 18 per cubic centimeter, heavily doped. That provides a resonance condition that will degrade the channel mobility by degrading the electron mobility, as electron or hole will move in a zigzag motion. But if we use a metal gate, that is considered to be a very heavily doped material. A metal gate is a conductor, very good conductor, that is having a doping. If we consider in case of the doping concentration, that is having a doping concentration more than 10 to the power 20 per cubic centimeter. So because of the more number of the electron, this resonance condition will be weakened. So because of that, channel mobility will be recovered. So this phenomena is shown in the next slide, how we getting the recovering of the channel mobility. This diagram is divided in two parts. If we see from the left side, that's shown the performance of the device in terms of the channel mobility or electron density for the polysilicon and high K dielectric combination. And on the other side, it provides the simulation result for the metal gate and the high K dielectric. As we see simulation result, as we keep increasing the electron density in the gate by applying a high voltage at the gate side, that will attract more number of the electron or hole, depending whether we are talking about NMOS or PMOS device, to strengthen the channel property. So what will happen as we keep increasing gate voltage, as channel density will increase, after certain channel electron density, this mobility of the charge carrier is going to be decreased. There is a mobility dip. But if we use metal gate device in place of the polysilicon gate, as we keep increasing the electron density, mobility of the charge carrier are going to increase. So this is also the one of the major problem with the polysilicon gate and the high K dielectric oxide combination. So because of that also, we have to replace this polysilicon gate with the metal gate. So you see, when silicon dioxide is replaced with high K material, it was found that polysilicon and high K material were not compatible because performance of the device is getting degraded. So polysilicon is being replaced by a metal to make it compatible with high K material. So some different type of the metal, that is called refractive type of the metal, we have to select. But remember, in the starting of the fabrication of the MOSFET, we were using aluminum as a metal gate. But nowadays we are not using aluminum as a metal gate because aluminum as a gate requires multi-step deposition process. It will create so many problems in the structure. It increases the cost of the IC also. It causes so many problems also. And with the aluminum, one of the major problems was the annealing. As I discussed earlier, that after deposition of the source and drain region, we have to heat up the device up to 1000 degrees centigrade, and we have to leave the device for 5 minutes or maximum 5 minutes for the annealing purpose. So during the heating time, this aluminum metal gate is getting melted. So this is also the major problem with the aluminum gate. So much research has been done, and they have found out so many other metal that are used as a metal electrode. So we are moving towards the metal gate technology, because this is the one of the solution. Metal gate is the one of the great solution for all the problem that we have discussed with the polysilicon gate along with the high K material. So because of all these problem, again industry returned back to the metal as a gate electrode. So we see, again we'll discuss the requirement of the metal gate in some other prospect. Why metal gate is useful or better in comparable to the polysilicon. So gate electrode in most devices is conventionally made of the highly doped polysilicon material. Conventionally, but in the very first time, this MOSFET was fabricated with the metal gate only. But with the scaling problem, with the other problem, industry moved to the polysilicon gate material. They replaced the metal with the polysilicon. So other we see several problems are lately encountered due to aggressive scaling. Again, so many problems are there with the polysilicon gate. We discussed so many problems, and we'll see some of the problem here also. So this problem that I am going to discuss with the metal gate, that is related to the performance of the device directly. So in inversion region, we found that a strong channel is formed in between source and drain. So some of the depletion region is also added to the dielectric thickness, and the equivalent oxide thickness is increased. Okay, what will happen? In the oxide layer also, some of the charge are removed. That is, some portion of the oxide layer is called as a buried layer, that is not having any type of the charge carriers. So this is also added to the inversion layer. So because of that, what will happen? This results in reduction in the inversion layer charge density and degradation of the transconductance. So because of that depletion layer formed in the oxide layer, some of the electron will move towards the depletion layer in the oxide layer, and they will be trapped permanently. They will not come back, right? This is the problem with the polysilicon type of the electrode. Okay. So increased resistance of the gate electrode fingers is another issue due to reduction in the geometry when scaling down. As we have seen that metal gate electron should provide a high amount of the resistance, so that the gate will not receive any charge carrier from the rest of the body of the device, so that gate current is 0. Okay, but if we are using polysilicon, with the reduction in the geometry, this resistance of the polysilicon is going to decrease, because property silicon dioxide and other things are very much similar. So to reduce the polysilicon depletion effect and to decrease the high resistance in the short gate electrode, doping level in the polysilicon electrode is increased with this scaling. So for that purpose, we have to increase the doping level, but we can't dope any material beyond certain extent. So that is also the one of the major problem, so that we are moving towards the metal gate. So because of that, during the high temperature, activation of the dopant, diffusion of the boron penetrate from the gate to the gate dielectric and into the silicon channel, which will degrade the performance of the, if we are using polysilicon gate, this is the major problem, because after in polysilicon gate technology, first we deposited the material for the gate electrode. After that, we will deposited the other thing like source and drain. But in metal gate, first we deposited a dummy gate on the top surface of the device. After that, we will do all the process, and in the last, that dummy gate was replaced with a metal gate. So polysilicon gate technology is the first gate technology, and metal gate technology is the last gate technology. So in polysilicon gate technology, first we deposited the gate electrode. After that, we going to deposit other thing. So once polysilicon gate material is deposited on the top of the MOS structure, after that we are going for the diffusion process of the source. So what will happen? This boron also penetrate the polysilicon material, because property of the polysilicon material and the substrate is very much similar to each other. So what will happen? Some of the atom of the boron will penetrate the gate. It comes to the silicon dielectric and it comes to the channel. Okay, that will degrade the performance of the device, because permanent tunneling will be formed in between drain, in between substrate oxide and gate region. That is also a permanent decrement in the performance of the device. So the step from the conventional SiO2 to high-end material might also induce trouble with respect to the compatible, since some high-end material have been shown to react with polysilicon, making it as a less favorable material for continuing as a gate electrode. So still scientists worked a lot not to replace polysilicon with the metal. Okay, so they have replaced this silicon dioxide with the high nitrogen material like silicon nitride as a gate oxide layer. But still it is also found with the silicon substrate. So property of the silicon nitride is also very much compatible to the polysilicon. See, scientists, so many scientists, so many research groups tried a lot not to make the change in the structure of this MOSFET. So much research is going on. So one of the research group provided the solution that replacement of the silicon dioxide with the high-end material, so that polysilicon can be still used as a gate material. But this is also not working properly. So a viable way to circumvent that mentioned issue with the polysilicon is to use a metal or metal compound as a gate electrode. So one of the major solution for all these problem is the replacement of the polysilicon material with the some suitable metal or metal compound, so that it will not create any problem with the performance of the device. So if we see the advantage of the metal gate over polysilicon gate, I listed only a few advantages here. One of the advantages is that the use of the metal gate would certainly eliminate the problem of dopant penetration to the dielectric and subsequent gate depletion, because already metal is having more amount of the charge carrier. So penetration of the dopant material, as we seen in the last case, that first we are depositing the polysilicon gate, then we are doing the other doping processes. But here we are depositing the dummy gate first. In the last, we are replacing the dummy gate with the metal gate. So this penetration through the gate, through the dielectric and subsequent to the substrate is not possible in the metal gate technology. So we have to use metal with appropriate work function for the NMOS and PMOS device would lead to transistor with symmetrical and tailored threshold voltage. And see here, we have to see the work function of the device also. For that purpose, we are using different metal material for the NMOS and PMOS. Same material cannot be used as a gate in the NMOS and PMOS. We'll see in the next slide very soon. So for that purpose, refractory metals are good choice for the application, primarily due to high melting point, because annealing is also one of the important process in the manufacturing of the IC. So melting point of the gate electrode is also required to be high, which allow them to be used as a high temperature necessary for source drain implant activation. Generally what happens when the source drain are implanted, there is no control over the dopant material to the penetrate in the substrate. So generally we seen the boundary of the source and drain very smooth. In general case, it will be like encroaching the area. It is not having a smooth boundary. So by doing the high temperature process, that is called annealing, somehow we will make this boundary of the gate and source and drain region somewhat smooth, so that this is not just like a encroachment, okay, just not like a jumbled one. So this is also one important parameter. One of the thing is here, metal gate material not only eliminates the gate depletion and dopant penetration problem, but also greatly reduces the gate seat resistance, because metal is a conductor component that is having more amount of the electrons. So that will reduce the gate seat resistance also, and gate depletion region will not be there because no penetration from the dopant side. So this is also, next is also the one of the important parameter, that introduction of the high K gate dielectric enabled transistor with a 0.7 time reduction in the TOX. TOX is the oxide thickness, okay, that can be reduced 0.7 times comparable to the silicon dioxide, and while reducing the gate leakage 1000 times for the PMOS and 25 times for the NMOS transistor, because leakage is also one of the major problem. Why? Because if the device is not in use, we are supposed not to get any type of the charge carrier or current at the drain side, but still we are getting some amount of the very weak current, that is called leakage. What we want, suppose our mobile is not in use, we have not receiving any call and making any call, we are not performing any operation, our battery should not die. But what's happening? Or in the switch off mode, sometimes we keep our mobile in switch off mode to save our battery. Or if we are in some meeting or some places where we have to keep our mobile switch off, even mobile is not in use, it is totally switched off. But internally some leakage current will be flown. Because of that, some portion of your battery will be tied. That is related to the leakage. So leakage is one of the major problem in the short channel devices. So if we use high K dielectric material along with the metal gate, it reduces 1000 time leakage current in PMOS and 25 times in NMOS transistor. So this is one of the major advantages. And metal do not require doping since they have excess electron owing to their metallic nature. Although the resistivity of the metal may under optimized deposition condition be significantly lower than in a highly doped polysilicon stack. Because metal, so this is also the one of the advantage of using the metal, because the metal is already having a sufficient number of the electron. Okay, that will provide a optimized resistivity for the deposition comparable to the highly doped polysilicon stack. Why stack? Because polysilicon gate, then silicon dioxide layer, then substrate is that is also form of silicon. Okay, so this is called polysilicon stack. Combinedly, polysilicon gate, silicon dioxide, and N-type or P-type substrate. That is called polysilicon stack. Now moving to the next slide. So probably this is the last slide of my presentation. Okay, this is regarding the material used for the metal gate. So basically problem arises when this scaling goes beyond the 45 nanometer. Okay, as you can see in the Intel find out some problem when they are scaling down the device size beyond the 45 nanometer, that this polysilicon is not suitable with the high K electric material. So they return back to the metal gate. If we compare to the TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, they face the similar problem beyond the 25 nanometer technology. Okay, but Intel is the one of the leading fab lab in the field of the fabrication of the ICs and everything. So they've got this problem when they are going beyond the 45 nanometer. So as I told, that material for the formation of the NMOS and PMOS are different, and technique also different. For NMOS device, we use single metal gate. Okay, single metal layer only, one layer gate only. It contains tellurium nitride, and NB. Single layer. But if we talk about the PMOS, we have to deposit a two layer, and material also different. WN-RU, rubidium oxide, and WN. So for fabrication of the NMOS and PMOS, different material are used, different technique are used. For NMOS, single layer of the metal is required to form a metal gate, but in case of the PMOS, we have to deposit it two layer of the metal. Okay, as we seen in the diagram I shown in the slide, silicon over the surface of the silicon substrate, we have to deposit high K material. Over that, we have to deposit metal gate. That is different for NMOS and PMOS. So due to this solution, the strength capacity of the channel can be improved by the metal gate. Okay, moreover, this enables less current perception in the gate due to the deposition of the electron inside the metal, because already metal is having excess electrons. So vibration in the polysilicon, just like in polysilicon, will be very less. So because of that, movement of the charge carrier in the channel will not be disturbed by the perception or vibration in the metal gate. In that case, mobility of the charge carrier will increase. That will cover channel length distance within a short time. Because of that, performance of the device. And one more thing, for this metal gate technology, generally for the polysilicon material, we are using chemical vapor deposition, CVD process, for the deposition purpose of the polysilicon gate. But for the metal gate technology, when we have to deposit the metal in a single step, we have to use ALD. That is a different type of the CVD process called atomic layer deposition. It's also a single step deposition process, so that the fabrication time and fabrication cost also reduce. as the structure of the device are changing. So fabrication technology is also going to change. They are also facing some problem, some challenges.